My mother-in-law loves her birthday. She kept joking when I was pregnant that if I went into labor on her birthday, 2 days before my due date, I'd better hold him in. Well, karma, he was born on her birthday, and she was not pleased. Mother-in-law came to the hospital for about 10 minutes, but said she had plans and left. This year she's turning 50, and he is turning 1, and the day falls on a Saturday. I was super excited that I could have his party on the actual day, and immediately started making plans. Unfortunately, mother-in-law said she's having a party that day, so I need to do his birthday another weekend. I thought that was ridiculous, because one of them is a little kid, and it isn't her. I know technically we could do his in the afternoon and hers at night, but my in-laws throw crazy parties. Her 40th was like the size of a wedding, and it requires lots of prep, hair, makeup, so it really wouldn't fit. I refused to move the date of his party. Mother-in-law got mad and said he won't even remember. Father-in-law told me mother-in-law was born first. I told mother-in-law she was being a crybaby and she can build a bridge and get over it. I said he's a little kid, so his first birthday is more important than hers, and she can do her ridiculous pageant birthday party another day. Mother-in-law is now not talking to us, but not changing the date. This means the family will go to her party, and I feel like she's being really immature. I have no regrets for what I said, but her daughters called me an idiot and now aren't talking to their brother. Edit. We can't do a joint party. Mother-in-law throws huge fancy parties, cocktail attire, open bar, going until 2 a.m., and with some vulgar friends. That isn't an option, and even if it was, she wouldn't want to. Everyone's the idiot here. Really? Could nobody find a compromise around times and dates? Grow up, everyone. Amazingly, the 1-year-old baby may just be the most mature person in this story. My daughter was born on my brother's birthday, who happens to celebrate his birthday month. We have another niece born a few days later, so we plan our parties around each other. One year I did my daughter's birthday party a month after her actual birthday. She didn't care and was a toddler. Adults work with each other, not against. You are the idiot. This one is a tough one for me. If it was her 48th birthday or her 53rd, I'd be fully on your side. But milestone birthdays are allowed to be a big deal, even for adults. So I understand both your side and her side. If it were me, I'd do one big combined party for both of them and think it was neat to have a grandson and grandma sharing a birthday, but that's just me. You are the idiot. You are being stubborn, and your mother-in-law is right. Your son won't care if his birthday is on a Sunday or the week after. This is her 50th birthday, and she wants a big celebration. So what? Your son will be just as happy playing in an empty box at 1 year old. You are going to have this problem every year. Be better. This shouldn't be a hill to die on this year. While insufferable, mother-in-law isn't obligated to accommodate your plans. I edged to mother-in-law's side because you're hiding the ball. Baby couldn't care less if and when a party occurs. This is about you and your demand for priority on baby's behalf. I'm going against the grain with not the idiot. I'm 45 years old and cannot imagine getting into a pissing contest with a child or his mother over whose birthday is more important. If I did have some lapse in judgment and set myself in that position, I would feel intensely embarrassed once the meds wore off. Being on meds is the only scenario I can even imagine this happening in. Sure, the 50-year-old has a right to her party, and her party can be as big as she wants it to, but to actually demand that someone else changes the day of their party, and to have her husband say that his grandson isn't as important as his wife because she was born first? What? Normally, I would look for a compromise, but honestly, I think that OP did the right thing in this case. Because with people like the mother-in-law, it is important to set boundaries early and often, and I would stick to the original date on principle alone. Right? Seriously, I can't believe these comments. Mother-in-law is clearly self-centered. She was angry before the baby was even born, just at the thought of attention being taken away from her on her day. Sounds like she throws herself a big worshipped me event every year as well. I enjoy seeing family for their or my birthdays, but none of us need to be the princess or put on a pedestal for celebrations though. I, 24 female, am the result of an affair between my mom and her now husband. My dad discovered the affair when I was 7. He divorced her but kept in contact with me and my brother, 26, my dad's bio son. Mom and dad shared custody because legally he was still my father, and brother was the only child they both had together, making him my half-sibling. I also have nearly adult twin sisters that my mom had with my bio dad. My bio dad always felt like a stepfather, while my dad is the one I had a close bond with, and my brother is the sibling I am closest to. My dad has never differentiated between my brother and me, took us on many vacations every weekend, and genuinely seemed keener to maintain a close bond with me. He helped us both through college, and now we both have good jobs in our field. On the other hand, my bio dad always seemed rather detached, and once when I asked him why, he said it was because he had not seen me born like he did my sisters. Now for the situation at hand. I am getting married in the spring of 2022. I decided that I would have my dad walk me down the aisle and not my bio dad, and also that my brother would be my man of honor. When I told them of my decision, my dad became teary-eyed, and my brother pulled me into a hug. My bio dad got up and left the room. My sisters glared at me and asked me if I was happy after making bio dad upset, and my mom said she was disappointed in me. I told my sisters that they were still in the wedding party, just not the maid of honor. They said they didn't want to be a part of my wedding if their father would be disrespected, and I said I was okay with it. This resulted in a meltdown. My mom and sisters started cussing me out, and my brother and dad stepped in and told them to leave, which they did. My fiance and brother are close friends. He respects my dad a lot, so even he became agitated upon learning what happened at the meeting. Since then, I've been getting many messages and calls from my bio dad's side of the family, calling me an idiot for not choosing my real family. Mom called me to suggest that both my dad and stepdad walk me down the aisle, and I said no. My dad deserved to have this little moment to himself. She then negotiated that if my dad walks me down the aisle, then bio dad should have the father-daughter dance, to which I also said no. She said I was being stubborn and needed to be open-minded. My bio dad has not contacted me since. My mom says she doesn't know if she, dad, or my sisters would come to the wedding, only to see bio dad disrespected. I am baffled and exhausted right now. Yeah, your mother cheated on the guy and then lied to him about the kid being his for 7 years? Your mother clearly doesn't know what disrespected means. Not the idiot. You get to decide who's doing what at your wedding. Bio dad and mom are idiots. I can't get over the fact that OP's mother, who betrayed her wedding vows, cheated on her husband repeatedly, lied to her family, and hid who OP's real father was for 7 years, is disappointed in you? Really? Bio dad didn't bond or act as a father. Being a dad is far more than biology. It is not disrespecting to treat him differently to the man who loved and raised you. It is the consequences of his actions. You can't expect to be treated as a dad if you never acted like one. Not the idiot. Wow, your mother certainly is shameless. Her own infidelity is the root cause of all this drama. I suspect she's happy for you to be the focus of everyone's anger, so the target is off of her back. And if your bio dad values real family so much, then what was he doing messing around with a married woman? Neither of them has a leg to stand on, morally speaking. They made bad choices, and now they're expecting you to bend your wedding so they can pretend they didn't. So my 23 male, wife 22, loves puzzle books. She's obsessed with Sudokus, binary and lotus logic puzzles, all that sort of stuff. We love to do them together every night before we go to bed. It helps to keep her relaxed when her anxiety is particularly bad. Last week we celebrated our first anniversary. Now my wife isn't into typical gifts like jewelry, flowers, etc. Not at all. She prefers meaningful gifts that she can get a lot of use out of. So my gift to her was a novel she's wanted for ages and a massive puzzle book that I knew she would love, which she did. She was super happy to get it and has been working through the book nonstop. I'm happy she liked the gift. The issue is, my mother-in-law came over and was asking about how our anniversary was, what we got each other, etc. So we told her. She seemed horrified that all I got my wife was a couple of books and kept saying that I could not financially satisfy my wife. Mother-in-law also kept making comments about how if my wife had stayed with her ex, who came from a well-off family, she would be getting expensive gifts that would make her feel special. Now I feel horrible because I don't know if I did the right thing. I thought it would be better to give my wife something she loves and that I know she'd get lots of use out of. But my mother-in-law thinks I'm too cheap and wants my wife to stay at her place for a bit because she thinks I don't treat her well. Am I the idiot? Should I have gotten a more conventional or expensive anniversary present? Not the idiot. The first anniversary is supposed to be paper. Sounds like you hit on target with both tradition and what your wife likes, and something thoughtful too. That's a trifecta, OP. It's of course none of your mother-in-law's business, and frankly an insult to you and your wife, that she thinks your role in her life should be to buy her expensive baubles. Let's not even get started on her trying to corral your wife away to convince her to be a gold digger. Get on with your happy marriage and happy anniversary. Not the idiot. If your wife liked the gifts, your mother-in-law's opinion is irrelevant and rude. Even if your wife didn't like her gifts, that's between you and her and none of your mother-in-law's goddamn business. What makes someone feel special is a gift specially picked for that person, which sounds like yours for your wife were. Maybe your mother-in-law likes expensive jewelry and that would have made her feel special. Still, you married your wife, not your mother-in-law, and she's the only person you need to please with anniversary gifts. Anyway, the first anniversary is the paper anniversary, so you were perfectly on theme as well. OP, are you married to your wife or your mother-in-law? I'm tired of family inserting themselves into other people's relationships. Your wife likes meaningful gifts that she could get use out of. She loved the books. You made her happy. That's it. Screw your mother-in-law. Happened a couple of weeks ago, and I got myself kicked out of the house for this one. I, teen male, live mostly with my dad, 49, and my sister, younger teen, only going to stay at our mom's every other weekend because she's busy with work. My sister loves watching The Bachelor. It's not my favorite, but we only have one living room, and it's fun to comment on and watch the drama. Dad watches with us too. You probably all know what The Bachelor is about. It's a bunch of women trying to find love. Dad will make comments about the contestants whenever it's on, calling them fake bimbos and picking on their looks. My dad is a fat, balding man who would never have a chance with any of them. His personality wouldn't even save him. A couple weeks ago, he commented on a contestant's arms being flabby and that she needed to suck in her gut because it wasn't pretty. I was kind of fed up because my sister is bent on feminist stuff, and she cried to me before this that Dad's comments hurt her because she isn't skinny either. She's normal. So I told my dad that he had no room to talk because we aren't perfect either. He said these women go on TV for attention and he's giving them what they want. Then I said he couldn't say stuff about these ladies because he was fat and ugly himself, and that he should imagine what they would have to say about him. He gave me the silent treatment for a couple days. Then he dropped me off at Mom's for the weekend. But when he came back, he only picked up my sister and said he didn't want me back, effectively kicking me out. So I called Grandma, and she told me it was best to stay at Mom's if I couldn't learn to respect him. Edit, Dad will let me back in the house eventually. It has happened before, and he needs time to cool off. Not the idiot. Your dad is a typical self-centered chauvinist who can dish it out but can't take anything back without acting like a child. Unfortunately, since you're a kid, the only options you have are to deal with it until you can move out. So, moving forward, calling him out on his crap won't make you wrong, but you will suffer for it because your dad is the idiot. You are the idiot. Making fun of his looks isn't the right way to go, bud. If what he's saying is wrong, then tell him it's wrong for him to say it. Don't go insulting him. Instead of fixing the problem, you just made another one by being a disrespectful brat. Not the idiot. I hate this whole disrespect thing. Sure, you could have quietly pulled your dad to the side and spoke with him about how his words affect your sister. While I still think you should do that, I absolutely would stand behind you addressing that at the moment the way you did. You're setting an excellent example for your sister. Dad will let me back in the house eventually. It has happened before and he needs time to cool off. What on earth? You are a child. You don't just leave your child somewhere because you are angry with them. You don't just abandon them. And the fact that he has done this before, It should never happen. Sure, your kids make you mad. That is pretty much their job. But you just don't pick one kid up and leave the other. All he's teaching you is that you can never trust or rely on him. You are not the idiot. Your dad absolutely is. I, 33 female, have been with my boyfriend, 55, for 3 years, Carter, and he has always been mortified by our age gap. Carter is worried that he will be seen as a sad old man or that people will think I'm a gold digger. I, on the other hand, am unbothered. We both work in finance, and although Carter makes more than me, I make a 6-figure salary and am self-supporting. He is currently staying with me for a couple of weeks, as he lives a couple of states away. He has his own place, but we usually stay together 1 week a month minimum. Until the last 6 months or so, Carter refused to introduce me to anyone he knew, including his adult children. Still, I tolerated it because I assumed he was just cautious and would come around in the long run. Recently, a friend of his, Greg, 50, who I have worked with for the past 4 years and therefore know fairly well, had a couple of friends drop out of a holiday he had booked last year, a villa in Antigua, and asked if Carter wanted to go. As part of this invite, Greg told Carter he can bring a friend. It's important to note at this point that Greg is one of the few people that Carter has actually confided in about our long-term relationship. We have met for supper before as a couple, so I am 99% sure Greg was referring to me. Carter asked me if I wanted to go, and I was thrilled. I felt like it was a major turning point in our relationship, and that he was finally publicly acknowledging me. The next day, Carter calls me and tells me that he's spoken to Greg, and it transpired that Greg wasn't bringing friends, as Carter had thought, but instead his 5 adult children, 20s, plus their boyfriends and girlfriends. So Carter decided that this wouldn't be my scene and informed me that he'd asked his son, Ethan, 18, to go instead of me. I was incandescent and told him to get out. He has been texting me since, telling me I am blowing it out of proportion. I wouldn't enjoy it anyway, as it is mostly kids who are 5 years younger than me. So, am I the idiot for kicking him out, for being disinvited from the holiday? Edit. Carter and I started dating not long after his divorce, which is why he was initially reluctant to introduce me. As far as I know, there are no skeletons in Carter's closet. Not the idiot. Blowing out of proportion? You know what's out of balance? A 55-year-old guy who is so insecure and scared of the judgment of others, he tries to hide his girlfriend for 3 years. Are you sure he's not cheating or something? I think he lacks a lot of commitment. He lives out of town. They see each other 1 week each month. They've been dating for 3 years, and he refuses to acknowledge her to his family and friends. Sounds like the dude already has a family, and OP isn't it. Jesus, OP, why would you put up with this? Seriously, he is so ashamed of you he keeps you secret, and you happily go along with it? For 3 years? Where's your self-esteem? Your pride? I doubt he's divorced. If he is divorced, he's cheating on you. If it's none of the above, he definitely doesn't see you as serious material. So you're either a rebound until he finds someone better, or just a booty call that gets a couple extra benefits. Point is, he's not as invested in this relationship as you are. He doesn't see the same things for it as you do. You should not have to be his dirty little secret. It's been 3 years. How much longer? The rest of your lives? Please do yourself a kindness and find someone who won't be ashamed to be with you. I had a colleague, female 30s, who married a man almost twice her age. He never stopped being ashamed of her or himself for choosing her. He was wealthy but demanded she drives a crappy car so people wouldn't think she was a gold digger. He wouldn't invite her to many things, and when he did, he was very cold to her in public. She insisted she married him for love, but she finally got fed up, divorced him, got some money from the property division, and bought a Porsche just to spite him. And at least the Porsche doesn't act like an idiot. I hope she's living her best life.